And you mentioned that there were some German theorists like, or people who wrote textbooks like, for instance, Schenker or Schoenberg, or I think it was not Walter Pist. I forget. There was another one, Hindemith. So German significant composers and theorists and teachers who were not, so they really downplayed Italian influence. And could you, in a brief, is why was that the case? Why were they so down on them?
Well, I mean, German nationalism from the 19th century onward is just a huge thing. There's the quotation from the poet Friedrich Schiller that each nation has its hour in the sun, but the hour of the German is the harvest of all time. And that pretty much summarizes the outlook of people like Schoenberg and
Isn't Schiller
Schenker
the
and
the
Benjamin.
poet for the Symphony Nine? Isn't he the
Yes,
poet? Oh, okay.
yes,
And they love Beethoven, so he's gonna go.
yes.
So he's just
So, so it was, when Schoenberg developed the 12-tone system, he wrote a letter, I forget to whom, triumphantly saying, I have ensured the supremacy of German music for the next 100 years. And Schenker felt that Italian music, of, say, the Baroque was very important. But once Bach and Haydn and those German composers came along, the day of the Italians, that was over, and the Germans would rule the musical roost from then on. He also had a certain prejudice against opera in general, stronger and stronger as he went on, which is strange because he actually loved he loved listening to certain operas, including some operas not by Germans, but
yeah.
whatever. It's just a question of German nationalism. Paul Hindemith, who was extremely influential, along with Schoenberg and Schenker, in the development of the music theory profession in the United States, he felt that he felt that his American-born students had terrible musical educations. They were not talented. He had one or two European-born students here, like the composer Lucas Foss, and he thought they were superior. So in any case, the attitudes of these people like Schenker, who was never in America, but his pupils were, Schenker and Schoenberg and Hindemith, really saturated the development of American music theory, starting, when some of those people came here fleeing Hitler in the 30s and early 40s. On the other side of a certain divide, you had the Boulanger school, who tended to be composers teaching in conservatories, not so academic. It's only, that existed, but academic music theory didn't really take much notice of the Boulanger school. A big, huge breakthrough, of course, and I know you've interviewed Robert Yerningen more than once,
Yes.
his book on music in the galant style, which showed that the Paris Conservatory tradition, the Boulanger tradition, comes from this Italian galant tradition, and that expanded the purview of that tradition, I think, for an American audience beyond the seemingly sort of peripheral domain of, late Romantic, early modern French music. A composer like Gabriel Fauré. Fauré is wonderful, but has never been considered, in a certain sense, completely mainstream. So, but in any case, since Appartamento and schema theory has gotten on the map starting primarily with Yurtingen in this country, that has really entered the mainstream. Speaking for myself as someone older, I wish that had happened 20 or 30 years earlier.